Hello, hello, hello. How are you doing today? It's Monday today. Hope you had a nice weekend. Hope you are doing okay wherever you are in the world, and whatever your situation is with regard to isolation at the moment. Hope you're still managing to stay sane in all the craziness and not being able to go out, and still managing to connect with people, and still able to do some fun things online even if you can't do them on person. So today we're going to talk about a new way to release your hips, and it's not actually a new technique, but I'll explain a bit more in a moment. Before I continue, I just want to request that if you are enjoying this and you're watching, please do give me a little thumbs up or a little heart to let me know you're out there, and please do put any comments or questions in the comments box, particularly as this is something new. I think probably for most of you watching, you might have some questions for me on this, and if you are watching on catch up, please do tag me if you put proper questions, so make sure I see it. So we're going to be doing a technique to release your hips, and I say release in inverted commas, and I'm saying it's new, but actually it's not new at all. It's something that it's a body of work that's been researched for over 20 years by some top physiotherapists, but there isn't a physiotherapy tool. So physiotherapists normally would treat an area that was pain or injured. Obviously that's not what I'm going to do. I'm not a physiotherapist, so I'm not qualified to do that at all. But what we're going to do is we're going to look at something where it's going to release muscles, but you might find that if you've got pain in other areas, you might find this alleviates it a little bit. Also, you may find release in the hips. And what we're talking about here is muscles that are in spasm. So by spasm, I don't mean like a real sharp contraction, like a cramp or something like that. When we talk about muscle spasm in this context, we're talking about a subclinical spasm. It's a very deep, it's on a cellular level, basically, something that you're not going to actually just feel, but it can manifest itself as tightness in a muscle. For example, we often talk about muscles being tight and not feeling flexible, and it may be that rather that they're tight, i.e. they've kind of got locked short, they could be in spasm, which is something that actually can be released. And we do these muscle energy techniques, or METs, which aim to put a little bit of energy, generate a little bit of energy in the muscles, and this helps to reactivate them. And they can become in spasm because either they are underactive, for example, they just haven't been used for a while. For example, your glutes, when you've been sitting all day and the brain says, oh, we're not using those, we're just going to deregulate it. Or like your hip flexors, in contrast, again, when you've been sitting all day, if they've been in contraction all the time because you're in this position, then they're again going to potentially be in spasm. So what we're going to do, first of all, we're going to do a little bit of a test, and then we're going to do the muscle energy technique, and you can do it along with me, and then we're going to retest again. So you may or may not notice a difference today. This is something that I would recommend you repeat about 3 or 4 times a day, and over a few days maybe keep retesting yourself, see if you notice any changes or not. It may be that you might have tight muscles as opposed to muscles in spasm, or it may be that you have muscles in other places in your body that are in spasm, and it might not be muscles in your hips that are in spasm. But we're just going to focus on the hips today. So the test, and you can do this sitting up, and you can do the muscle energy technique sitting up, which is great because if you're sitting at your desk doing your work during the day, then you can literally do this, because this is what we're going to do in between when you're having a little break from doing your work. So just taking one leg over and crossing it, it would help actually if you're doing this, if you can take a picture of yourself or even film yourself doing this just to see where you're at. Just, you want to get a gauge of roughly where your knee sits when it crosses over, and also how it feels as well in the hip. Does it feel okay? Does it feel uncomfortable? Is there any discomfort at all? Is there any discomfort anywhere else in the body? So just take a moment to notice that, and then we're going to switch to the other side. And you might well find that one leg is completely different to the other. You may notice this is my right leg. I'm not quite sure if Facebook's flipped it, but my right leg is a little bit higher up, and it does feel a little bit tighter than my left, which I'm well aware of. And again, yeah, just make note of how that felt, and if there was any discomfort, if it felt tighter, maybe it felt looser than the other one, and also notice if there was any difference either side. Because when we have this imbalance in the pelvis, this can cause a lot of problems either up or down the chain. If you have niggly knees or niggles in your shoulders, these may well be because the pelvis is a little bit out of alignment, and then it's either causing issues in the spine further up, or perhaps further down the line it's causing you to have like a leg length discrepancy because one hip is higher than the other, which has effect on knees, ankles, etc, etc. So if you're ready, we're going to do the muscle energy technique now. So we're actually going to come back into the same position. You can also do this lying on the floor with one knee bent and the other leg crossed over. But I'm going to do it seated because I want you to be able to do this just when you're, you can do this sitting on the sofa. You can do this when you're sat at your desk, as I said previously. You're going to cross the leg over, and you're going to place the hand on the knee, and you're going to press just get this idea of a rotation in the hip. Yeah. So then I want you to do this and to give me just 20% pressure up into your hand. So it's going to feel like not very much at all. This is not a stretch. This is a muscle energy technique. And when I was learning how to do this, I had to keep reminding myself that for the first few times because it doesn't feel like anything's happening. We're going to hold for about 20 seconds. I'm just guesstimating here. So release. And we're going to do it again. So we're going to do 4 times on each side. So again, remembering just to press about 20% of pressure up into your hand. Your hand isn't doing anything. It's just an immovable object for your knee to press up against. And we're doing 20 seconds, as I said. I like to think of 3 long, deep breaths. So about 3 counts in, 3 counts out. Let's release and go again. So let's breathe in, 2, 3, and breathe out. 2, 3, and again. And the breathing's only to time the 20 seconds, but also if you're doing this, it can be a really nice moment to connect with your breath and connect with your diaphragmatic breathing. And let's release. We're going to do one more on this side. Pressing the knee up into the hand. Again, just 20%. Connecting with your breathing again. And yeah, if you're doing this during your working day, as well as it being a moment to release the muscles in your hips, it can be a moment just to take a deep breath and focus on your breathing. And if you're doing a stressful job, it can be good to take just a couple of moments for yourself to do that. So that's one hip done. And oh, I didn't turn my notifications off. Let's go to the other side. And so same thing again, crossing the leg over. Just get a moment to feel what the rotation feels like, because we're working with the rotators in the hip at the moment. And again, now you're pressing the knee up into the hand, just 20% of pressure, which can be a bit challenging to find at first. What is 20%? Sometimes it helps to start at 100%, like really press hard the knee up into the hand so you know what your maximum is. And let's release and go again. So you can press up like to test it, what is 100%, and then half that down to 50%, and then half that down to 25%, and then you've almost got the 20%. It's pretty subjective, but it's they did, when they were doing the testing, they did a lot of tests using different machines, that kind of thing, and this was proven to be as near as you could get the technique by doing it yourself as you would have by testing doing a machine. So again, breathing, nice deep breath in, 2, 3, and out, 2, 3, and again, 2, 3, breathing out, 2, 3, one more time, and out. And I lost count, I think that was the 3rd one. Now let me release, we're going to do one more, and if we've ended up doing 5 on this side, never mind. And I start talking over it and I lose track of where we are. So again, just 20% pressure up into the hand. The hand's not doing anything. It's all the hip rotators doing the work. And let's release. So releasing the hips. And we're going to do that test again. So we're going to come back into the same position. And now we're just going to observe once more how the hip feels and how it looks. You know, is there any difference in where it sits? I feel like mine's maybe a little bit lower. I've been doing this for a long time, so possibly I have gotten past all of the spasm and kind of left with tightness, if you see what I mean. Does it feel any discomfort? Has any of the discomfort released? Let's uncross the other leg and go the other way. Yep, see, for me that one definitely is already a little bit looser, and I do these techniques all the time, so that's pretty good going for me. It's just helped to release a little bit from all of the stuff that I've been doing all day. And yeah, I would be really interested to know how that goes for you. Also, take a moment to notice your body when you stand up, or perhaps if you bend down. Did you have any niggles that may have released, or a little bit of movement that you might have developed through that? Or maybe nothing at all. Maybe you need to do a little bit more work on this technique. Maybe you don't have any muscles in spasm in your hips. You know, it's going to be different for everybody. And then there's a few different things that we can do if you start by working on strengthening the muscles in your legs and the ones that control your hips, then this is going to help to complement this work, basically. So once muscles in spasm are released, they may go back into spasm again, and by doing strength and conditioning work, we can then continue this work and actually get them to release more and more and more and have them go into spasm less and less. So that's probably a lot of new information for you guys. Please do feel free to ask any questions if you have any. If anything doesn't make sense, it took me a while to get my head around this stuff, so I'm really excited to be sharing it with you, and if it doesn't make any sense, then please do let me know and I will be happy to chat about it some more. Please let me know if you've noticed any differences after doing this exercise, or perhaps go away, put a timer on your phone like 3 or 4 times a day. Just give it a go for a few days, see if you notice any changes. Please do drop me a message because I would love to hear from you. So that is it. That was our muscle energy technique for our hip rotators to release the hips. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you found it interesting. Please do share with friends if you know anyone who's got some tight hips and they need a little bit of work. Anyone who does a desk job should be doing this for sure. And if you are not already on my mailing list, I'm going to pop a link to that in the comments right after I get off here. So I will see you next time. I'm going to do another little dance along on Thursday if you are a belly dancer and you want to come dance with me. Same time, 5 p.m. And a little bit later on Thursday actually, it will probably be 5:30 this week. And I will be back here next Monday at 5 with some more something. I'm not quite sure what yet for you. So take care, and I will see you later. Bye bye.